Our archives are not just about numbers and names.
When you take a good look, who knows which voice will reach out to you and what tales will be told.
Os ydych chi eisiau wybod lle dyn ni'n mynd, rhaid i chi wybod lle dyn ni wedi bod.
Let's remember the voices of our local women and listen to what they want us to know.
Children, play nicely. Little Ivan is not a football. Dorothy, put him down now. I mean, really. Honestly, you have to have eyes in the back of your head with this lot. They're always up to something as soon as your back's turned. That little Dorothy, for example, all pigtails and freckles, the picture of innocence, but she's got the strength of a docker. Oh, now, where was I? Oh, yes. Our caretaker. Well, the clue's in the title, really. I have never, in all my years of teaching, met a caretaker who couldn't care less. Last winter, I came in to find that he'd not been lighting the fires. Again. Poor Miss Jones was bent over, lighting her own fire in the classroom. How outrageous! It was cold enough to freeze the ink in their pots. Well, when I confronted him about it, he just shrugged his shoulders and mumbled something about it'll toughen the children up. Oh, this is not a novel by Charles Dickens, I told him. This is not Doth Boys Hall. Oh. Well, of course, he had no clue what I was talking about. And there, in itself, is the argument as to why our children should be educated. Brian, no pinching the girls, please, or I shall pinch you back. Then there was dust and cobwebs everywhere. I believe he never cleaned at all. He had the same rag in his hand to dust, polish the brasses, clean the grates, and blow his nose. I mean, there was more life in that rag than there was in him. So he had to go. Now, I have two very efficient cleaners. My fires are lit in the winter. My floors are immaculate. We have a dust-free environment, and the children go home. Well, they go home no dirtier than when they arrived. A school should always be a clean and warm environment. Many of our children know no such thing in their own homes. So it's our duty to ensure that they receive it here. They deserve the best that we can provide. And it's my hope that this school will set an example to them, and that they will be inspired when they're older and have their own homes to ensure that they maintain them to the standards provided by this school. Education is as much about aspiration as it is about multiplication. Oh, Maggie, wait your turn, please. Wait! I treat every child in this school as though they were my own. When I first came here as headmistress, I got some very strange looks for the changes that I made, but I make no apologies for it. I remember Dr. Drinkwater said he thought it was a waste of taxpayers' money to amuse little ones in kindergarten. I didn't agree with him, of course. I will not be lectured to about my children and the communities that they live in, so I'm afraid my reply to him was rather sharp. What you must understand, Doctor, I said, is that it can be very difficult to amuse the interests of little ones in the homes of the poor. Their mothers are often so busy working that the children are neglected, and I understand that we both have our own responsibilities, you to the taxpayer and me to the children. However, I think if the taxpayers knew how happy these little mites were in school, they would not begrudge spending their taxes on them. I still have my kindergarten. Education and innovation. We must keep up with the changing times, come up with solutions, problem solve, find new ways to engage. I remember when we had a very high rate of absentees. Did I turn away from the problem? Did I ignore it? Well, of course not. I sent my staff out into the homes of our missing children to find out exactly what was going on. What was preventing our children from receiving a free education and the opportunity to better themselves? My staff convinced the parents of the benefits there and then. Our numbers improved after that. But change is a result, is it not, of all true learning? Oh, I know. There are some people who are afraid of change. There are even some who believe that the working classes should not receive an education. They don't want to upset the balance of power. Well, I have here in my school the future lawmakers, the politicians, the doctors, the nurses, the captains of industry, teachers, and anything else they aspire to be. And I guarantee they will uphold the standards of this school. Teaching is indeed the noblest of all professions. And if that means that I have to sack a caretaker who could put a sloth to shame for his lack of activity, then so be it. Dorothy? How on earth did you get Ivan up there? Well, don't drop him. I mean, honestly, who brings a rope into school with them? I'm so sorry. You must excuse me for a minute. 1 minute. Dorothy!